Hi, everybody, and welcome back. It's Jerry here. Today, we are going to take a quick, somewhat detailed look at one of the best beach fishing structures that I think you can possibly fish. This structure, if it's not holding fish, there are no fish around. The fish are going to be pretty close to your feet, to 40 feet. They're easy to spot. Cool thing about this piece of structure is it's just a cut in a bar, except you're standing on the bar on the beach. Same thing's going on offshore at the outer sandbar where you find those cuts. So you get a really good idea, basically, what's going on with those cuts out there. So we're going to dissect this, look to see what's going on, how to spot. I'm going to show you some easy diagrams with colors and some simple labels and lots of repetition, so you come out of here with the confidence to find fish and catch fish at these structures. Remember, the beach is a very dynamic place. These structures come and go. It's something you have to spot, and it's something that I will walk miles for day after day if I do find one, because if fish around, they'll eventually find it. Anyway, let's get to it. One last note. If there's anything you feel that I missed that you would like to add, please do leave a comment, and that would be great. All right, but let's get to it, and let's see what these things are all about by looking at, let's start with the structure. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look here at the actual structure, or in other terms, the anatomy of this piece of beach structure that we're going to be looking at, and hopefully you'll get to fish one day. And I'd like to make note, it's all about the changes you see on the beach. But you can see the structure over there to my right. You can see that ripping water coming out. And moving forward here to my left, that is the trowel. That trowel is going to extend almost a tremendous portion of the beach, if not the whole beach, marked in blue there. And between those, that there blue mark is the cut. And I am actually standing on the sandbar. You can see in the green, and the green on the other side is a sandbar, and that is the cut in the middle. Now let's move to the next slide, and you can see there's the cut. Those black arrows indicate how the water's moving through the trowel, but that's more of a dynamic look at it. We'll get to that further. But on the other side of the sandbar here, you can see the blue trowel and that cut. And those arrows represent the flow. So I'm going to take a step back over here, and we're going to look at that whole anatomy together. And there's the entire structure that you're going to be fishing and catching fish on. In the blue, you have the trowel. In the black, you have the cut. The green is the sandbar. And that red ripping water right there, ripping right upper right corner, that's the rip you're going to be fishing. So that's the entire physical structure that you want to identify. So we're going to go over this until it gets pounded in the head. So let's take a step back and get a look at it and imagine all those pieces put together again. And we're going to take a look at it. And there it is. So we're going to move on to the next segment, and we're going to reiterate all this stuff. So when you see these structures, you're going to know exactly what you're looking at and how to get to them and how to fish them. Moving on. Okay, I'm going to make this brief, but I think it's good to know how these things are formed, the embryology, or how they were born, however you want to look at it. But in the foreground there, underneath the sun to your right, we're going to zoom in here, and you can see a wave is actually crashing on that beach. And when that wave crashes on that beach as the tide's coming in, that water overlaps, flops up, and it will feed the trowel. You can see the trowel there under the black line, and the blue line is that wave hitting the beach. And we're going to move forward here, and you can see it's a feed in action. And there's the trowel that's going to be filling up, and we're going to move forward. That trowel makes that flow. That flow comes pouring out, and you have our rip. And that rip is where we're going to be fishing. And that's how these things basically form. I'm open to all other ideas, so please feel free to add. Now we're going to take a look at the physiology, or what's going on, the actions that's taken on when you have this here occurrence. So let's take a brief look at everything that's going on. You have your sandbars, you have the cut, you have the trowel forming that there rip. That rip is where the action's at. Moving forward here, take a step back, and you can see it again. Now I'm just iterating this stuff so it pounds into your mind, and you can spot these things as you see them, and will know where to fish and hopefully how to fish them. So moving forward, you can see the cut in the bar. We talked about how that trowel fills up with water, flows through that low point on the beach when it gets loaded, forming that there cut, and eventually comes out raging, forming the big rip. And you can see everything marked nice and clear here. So hopefully you can walk out of here seeing that and spot it. And moving forward, one thing I'd like to show you primarily what's going on is we have the wall. You can see the white water here. I'm standing on the other side, and let's go forward. There's your flow, and you can see it might not look like a Y here, but it forms a Y. There's your Y over there. The two tributaries are kind of meeting. It's almost like fishing the junction of a river. And I'm going to take a step back and just take a moment, look at it. And there it is again, labeled for you. Big old diagram, what we're looking for and what's going on. So the action is that flow that forms that rip in the ocean, and that rip is going to be holding the fish you want to catch. Pretty cool stuff. Take another step back and just imagine those diagrams again. Okay, now we're going to move forward. So you may ask, when should I start fishing this? Well, basically, the quick answer to that is when that action starts. And when that action starts, you have that deep carved erosion formed by the trowels. And I spoke about that there Y earlier. So when you get that there, water starts flowing out, you get that Y, and you're good to go. Once that water flows out, and you'll see the water, you can see the Y there. That's why I brought up the Y before. Pretty, simple when you got that flow, and you'll be able to spot that carved erosion before it even forms. So you can fish up and down the beach, but make sure you get back to this once that water starts spilling out. Pretty cool stuff. Before we move on, I would just also like to make a quick note is be careful crossing these things. In fact, do not cross through that cut. There is some seriously fast moving water. Your best approach is to cross the trowel to the other side, walk down and find the shallowest opening through the trowel and come back on the other side. Do not attempt to walk through this. The force coming through here is dynamic, so always be careful when you're getting to the other side, because you're going to want to fish both sides of this. So we'll talk about that now. Now let's talk about where, or briefly how, to fish these things. And there's just so much water here. I would fish the whole darn thing. But briefly get out there and just fish it. But what's going on here is, moving forward, is you have this here the white water. That white water basically is stirring up whatever bait, critters underneath the sand, fish passing by. They become in disarray. And this is how game fish generally think on whole, is I would concentrate on areas of zero turbulence. Those areas are basically where the game fish are going to be sitting and preying on anything that whitewash throws at them. And moving forward here, we'll take a look. Hold on. What's happening here basically is you get these here deep pockets from that water gushing out, and the whole darn thing is fishable. But I would concentrate on those deep pockets, either formed on the left or the right, and how they form is dependent on how the ocean happens to be hitting the water that day. So it's going to change and vary day by day, and who knows how long this here structure sticks around for. They do change. But you can fish both sides, so you have to pick a side. Now, what side do you want to fish? Basically, all I have to say about that is depends on the ocean. But real briefly, if you're walking down the beach like I am here, and you approach, pick the side that you're closest to. One last thing is, don't forget you can fish the lip of the beach on both sides, pretty extended way down. So lots of water to cover here. Cover the whole darn thing. Again, which side's better? You know, I would say basically, and real quick, the side you're on is going to be the best. But that rips, which side, that's the age-old question, is what side do you fish the rip? You know, it varies. So fish the whole darn thing. Looks good. So let's do the side that you're on. Start there and then hit the other side. Hit the front, hit the sides, and fish the lip. Fish the whole darn thing. Fish it your way. And let's get finishing up here. And thanks for bearing with me. Okay, we're going to do a quick recap of what we've been showing and discussing here. You have over there again in your green the sandbars, the trout and the blue. You have those black dots forming. That's your flow. That's where all the action is. That's your energy, and that's what's going to form that beautiful rip. Then it's going to hold those, stir up all those bait fish and hold those game fish. This is what you're looking for. It's that going to be flowing out. It's going to form that beautiful Y, and that's where all the action is. And remember, always be careful around these things, and do not attempt to cross through that major channel there. Always find a point of low flow through the trout if you're going to fish the other side. And finally, my favorite part is it's best to start fishing on the side you're on. Fish the whole darn thing till you find a pattern, and when you found that pattern, you can hold the fish. Be sure to fish that whole darn thing and start on the side you're on. And that's pretty much so about closing. So, okay, thanks again for watching. And one thing I don't know if I had mentioned is this here cut in the bar that you're standing right next to. It's the same kind of cut that occurs offshore. So you get a really good visual on what's going on underneath the water, except you're actually on it. So that's important to know. That's what's going on with a cut out in the water that you can't see. That's another way to identify, perhaps another video. But through repetition, visual, and audio, I hope you could identify, and it's up to you to fish them effectively. So hopefully you can spot and fish these confidently after watching this video. If you need to, watch it again. And I hope it helps. If you have any questions, please do ask. I will get back to you whenever I can. And anything to add. We all see different things. I've left out a bunch of things, so additions are always great. But any questions, leave a comment, and thanks for watching. Please like, dislike, comment, subscribe to the channel, and remember, always fish your way. And have a great night, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And thanks again. See you next time.